My name is Debola Osipitan, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I grew up with entrepreneurs. My dad is an entrepreneur, my mom is an entrepreneur. My dad used to work for the government till I was about maybe 4. Then he resigned and started his own private businesses. Same as my mom. My mom used to be a nurse, and then at some point she decided, she's leaving her profession, and then she's starting a business. So I've always known my parents to be entrepreneurs, starting different businesses. The ones that excelled. The ones that didn't, they shut down and opened new ones. I'd always understood that if you put 5 naira in something, it can grow to become 7 naira if you market it well, if you push it out well, if you have the right product. And then, your 2 naira profits, you can decide to spend it or put it back in the business and grow it. So I've always known that. And that was kind of intriguing for me as a young boy. And to this very moment, I moved in that line. I didn't have something specific I wanted to be. I was just looking for the thing that will make the most money. So at that time, everybody said you have to be a petrochemical engineer, chemical engineer, work in an oil company, drill oil, that's where the money's at. So that's what I was thinking of doing at first. And then at some point I fell in love with computers in my SS2, SS3. I started liking computers. So I then decided to tilt in that direction and I studied computer science. I realized really quickly that they were teaching us 1970s, 1980s programming languages. Why are they teaching me Fortran in 2005 when everybody else is teaching HTML, JavaScript, which was what they were doing in the world at the time anyway. So I'd spoken to my dad about it, that this thing that they're teaching me in uni, I don't think it's going to help me do anything. So he then suggested that I take a professional course with NIT. There was software engineering and then software entrepreneurship. So if you did software engineering, you're learning how to be an engineer, but hoping to work for somebody. But if you did software entrepreneurship, there was a business class to it where they would teach you the business of selling your software, packaging it and all that. So that's what I did. Right after I graduated from NIT, I knew how to develop websites, little softwares here and there. So I went to my dad and said, you know what, give me a list of all your friends. I need to go and start speaking to them. I'm sure that they have horrible websites and how to do fantastic websites. So he goes, oh yeah, here are a few people. So one of my dad's friends, who was the CEO of King's Guards at the time, gave me my first opportunity. So I went to meet him. I said, oh, I've just finished this, so this is what I can do. And I've seen your website is ugly. Can I make you a nice one? So he goes, yeah, sure. Go and do a demo and come and show us. So I did a demo and presented to his board, and they loved it. So that was how I started. And I'm still in university. I kept doing websites for my dad's friends. From there, they would introduce, it was pretty much a referral business. Oh, who did this website? I liked it. This guy that did it. So I kept getting business based on referrals. And then by the time I graduated, I had formed my own company. So I'd done the whole documentation, CAC, everything. I was collecting checks in my company name. Now a big man have arrived. So from that point, I was looking for an internship in a company more established than I was. I started working at a company called Stream Data Services. I worked there for about a year or so. My boss at that time had a lot more experience in the field, He had done websites for bigger companies. So based on that, I now went into financial services, doing work for financial services, especially stockbrokers. So I started doing websites for stockbrokers. I continued in that path. I think I worked at Stream Data for about a year, but now met people. So I'd now been known. A few people, and not many people were doing really good websites at the time. So it's very easy for them to call you and say, oh, I saw this website you did, come and do ours like that. So that was my, I would say, first big break, doing websites for stockbrokers and all. And I still do websites for them till today. As an entrepreneur, you need to put your ears to the ground and know what's popping, what's happening. You need to network. So from networking, I met a friend who was working for an oil servicing company, and they were doing logistics. Their department of logistics needed someone to be able to transport goods for them or their equipment from Lagos to Port Harcourt. I registered as a vendor in a company, and all they would call me and say is, oh, we need to move something from Lagos to Port Harcourt. All I had to do was go and look for a boss that's willing to move it from Lagos to Port Harcourt. I'll pay for escorts that will go with the boss to make sure the goods are secure. And it will get there. I would issue an invoice to the company and mark it up by 100%, and they loved it and they would pay. So that was how I got into logistics. So I literally was serving just that company, and I wasn't interested in expanding it. The company was paying good money. So that's how I got into logistics. So I understood, how speaking to drivers, movement, road maps, routes to pass, where police will not disturb you or seize your goods. So I kind of understood it. I got into that business. And from then on, another opportunity came. My friend who I went to secondary school with was the GM of Uber. So she had just become the GM of Uber and said, oh, there's this opportunity. We're looking for people with cars to put on the road. My friend and I bought a few cars and put them on the road. And that's how we started. And it was good business when we started, and we're doing pretty well. I assumed everybody else was doing pretty well until they did a town hall where other people were complaining that they were not making money. How are you guys not making money? So they gave me the opportunity to come and speak and explain my model, how I was doing it. I did that, and people were impressed from that meeting, which was shocking to me because it seemed like pretty basic stuff. So I then got the opportunity. Somebody then said, oh, I have a fleet of cars. I've tried this thing for months. We're not making money. We're at a loss. We need your expertise. I'm like, oh, we're doing well, making money from it already, so might as well help you. So he gave us his fleet, I think about 20 cars. And my friend and I started managing. And in our first week, he made his first profit on Uber. So we grew that, and then people heard about us. So people were just pretty much offering us our cars. You know what? We've tried it didn't work. Take our cars, help us. We met different people that would give us 5 cars, 10 cars, 8 cars. At some point, we grew our fleets to about 60-something cars at a particular time. If you're living in Lekki Phase 1, if on Monday morning Uber was surging, that was our fault. Because we had numbers, and we always had a Monday meeting to discuss how the week went. So Monday meeting starts between 6 and 7:30 a.m. But most people are leaving their houses and going to work at that time. So because our cars are offline, Uber is surging. So GM will call, Debola, your cars are offline, it's surging. We're sorry, we're doing business, we're doing meetings. Uber was charging in dollars and converting at CBN rate to charge the customer. So they will charge you, maybe your trip is $5, they will convert at CBN rate and charge you in Naira and debit you. Nobody knew what was going on behind, you just knew that you got a debit and you know the amount you're paying. I think in 2016 or so, we started Uber in 2015. About 2016 into 2017, there was the dollar crisis where dollar shot up. So CBN says, you know what, go and look for your dollars elsewhere. We're not giving the banks dollars anymore. You take a trip that's supposed to be maybe 2,000 Naira, but the bank will convert at their own rate, which is probably black market rates, and then your trip will end up being 4,000 Naira. So people kept complaining and they started boycotting Uber. Then they introduced cash. Now, the excitement about Uber in the beginning was the drivers had no access to cash. We just get paid every Wednesday. Whatever you made during the week, we paid on Wednesday. So the money comes directly to you, you then pay your drivers. So you probably take out OPEX from your pocket as operational expenses from your pocket for the week, and then you get reimbursed when you get paid anywhere. Now we go into a fresh new terrain where you have to start struggling for your driver to pay you because the client has paid them in cash. That was the first problem. Then fuel prices went up. Uber then thought it was a brilliant idea to reduce the pricing at the time. To them, they wanted to compete with the regular cab. They want you to be able to do as many trips as you can to make as much money. But if you're doing longer trips for cheaper fares, you're not making that much money because there's wear and tear on your car and you're spending more money on petrol. So that ate into our profits again. VIO started chasing us. The state government says, oh, you guys are not, Uber has to pay some licensing fee, so VIO will catch the drivers. We have to go and try and get the cars out. On a day, you have 10 cars stuck at VIO office. It was too much headache. So at some point, our personal fleets, we started selling off the cars, and the people who gave us cars to manage, we started returning. That's how we reduced our fleets into maybe 10, 11 cars, just to manage it and see how we can phase out, see if we would expand or not. Or it was a very difficult business to scale, managing human beings and all that with all these restrictions, government issues, pricing issues, collecting cash issues, fuel scarcity issues. So I then decided to reduce our fleets to something that was easier to manage. 2018, friend told me that, oh, he's starting up a bike hailing company. Like, oh, okay, like Go-Kada and the rest. Is like, yes, but he's not going to use an app. He will just make it neat, professional. People can hail the bikes on the road, and then he will just charge the riders, the bike guys, a flat fee per week. And then the numbers look good to me. So I invested. My friend and I bought about, I think, 30 bikes, and we put on it. And then it was not bad. So we started like maybe I think June or July of 2018. By January of 2020, state government says they're banning all commercial bikes on the road. So we're stuck with 30 bikes, not knowing what to do with them. People said, oh, go into delivery business. Because I had suffered with Uber drivers, I had suffered with bike guys, I said to myself, I'm not going to deal with these people anymore. I'm not going to do any logistics-based business anymore. That's how we actually lost out in our business. We didn't recoup our investments. And we then had to sell the bikes at giveaway prices because they had used them raggedy, and nobody was buying bikes at the time. We just sold them and cut our losses and moved on. So in this my journey, my son as if we were always making it. It's not like that. So once in a while, there are a few misses and there are a lot of hits. So we thank God. I'd heard that the entertainment industry in Nigeria is growing big. People are doing big things. So me, I had cars. I was not using them for anything. I was looking for the next thing to put my money into. So I then decided to do small research and see what people are doing, but they're not doing enough, or people are doing what they're not doing well. I then decided to go into special effects, which is, if you go to a typical Nigerian wedding, there's no how. So you won't see some sort of theatrics with low fog, fireworks. You get into a hall, the ambience is beautiful, there's warm lighting. So stuff like that. So I saw, oh, there are not that many people doing it, so I might as well go into it. I went into that, grew that, special effects part of my business, went into lighting. From lighting, went into screens, LED screens for outdoor events, indoor events. If you have a big event and you don't want people to be roaming about, you want them to be able to sit in their seat and know what's going on. There are these big screens we put on your hall. We invested in that. And then we went into stage, trussing, lighting for outdoor events, concerts and all that. So that was fantastic. We grew that business in 3 years, between 2016 and 2019. 2020, COVID came. Whew. Events shut down. We can't do events past 50 guests. And then I start thinking again, okay, I've bought all this equipment because the busiest period for us usually is December. So you have done all these events, and the best time to reinvest in your business in January, when you have made some money from events and you want to reinvest well. Bought a lot of equipment, more screens, more lighting, more trussing, getting ready to just show out in 2020. So COVID came, that happened, and then government had restricted events, so there were little or no events from March until June, July. So then I was thinking again of the next best thing. So my wife happens to be an event planner, and then she had an event she did, and I asked, oh, how did you guys did live streaming of it? Like, how were their parents? Because the couple's parents were not in the country. So she goes, oh, we used Zoom. So how's the experience? And she goes, oh, it was terrible. We put a laptop in a corner. The whole place was noisy. Nobody was controlling it. So it wasn't a great experience. So I thought to myself, that's not a bad idea. But I pushed that idea to the back. So, okay, maybe I would do it. And somebody reached out to me and said, oh, his church, they wanted to set up a live streaming service. So I said, this live streaming everybody is just making noise about. Shouldn't I look into it? Then I heard Zoom shares with shooting through the roof because everybody's live streaming everything is going online. So I then went online and did some research, and then figured out how to do it better. I'm usually self-taught. Most of the things I learn is I go online and learn myself. There's YouTube there for a reason. So I went on YouTube, watched a few videos, and by faith I just started ordering equipment, cameras, wireless mics, got internet connections, signed up to Zoom Professional, and we did our first event. And it was a success. The people that came on said this was the best streaming service they ever had. Oh, okay, this is a good, it's a business I can grow really quickly. And in a short time, we're booked pretty much Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People want to do burials, they're not able to come in. People want to do small events, their friends are not able to come in. So I became the Zoom guy. Presently, at this stage, the newest business I've started is a live streaming business. So we'd grown our live streaming business to the point where we became popular enough to host a meeting for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in December, and also for the captains of the food processing sector in Nigeria. That meeting, we had people like Bill Gates on it, Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Minister of, I think, Investment, and also Minister of Health. So it was a big event, and we did it successfully. I wouldn't say one particular thing is a highlight. I always like when we start a business and I see that it grows. You have to be resilient. I wouldn't say passion, because really and truly, for some people, passion works for them. They are passionate about what it is they do. That's great. Me, I'm a technical guy. I look for how do we get into this business? How do we grow it? How would this business look in 5 years? How do I make it better? So I'm more a technical person in that aspect. So no matter, I can decide to start selling makeup tomorrow. I have no passion for makeup, but I will do it well because I would be technical about it. No sentiments, no airs about it. I would go in looking with my research. I understand it, because before I do any business, I have to understand it first. I have to do some research. I just don't go in blindly. You have to do some research, you find out, and then you take a leap of faith. Because you can do all the research you like, if you don't invest in something, if you don't take the first step, if you don't print a business card, if you don't register a company, you're not ready. But once you do all those, and you are sure this is what you want to be doing, Nigeria will teach you. You have no choice. So the most critical foundational step to building a business is your research. You have to know what you are getting yourself into. You have to understand you have to do some sort of analysis. If you get into this business, what will be your strength? If you get in and you are strong, what will threaten that strength? If nothing is threatening you and you are growing, what other opportunities do you have? What is your competition doing? You have to know these things. So when you are getting into a business, you don't get caught pants down, for lack of a better terminology. The pandemic opened our eyes to the live streaming part of things, where we're able to see that most businesses are going online. I don't necessarily need to be somewhere to have a meeting. I just need to have the technology, to understand how to use this technology and be able to achieve what I'm hoping to achieve. So with this, I would say I'm looking into doing a lot more online businesses. I'll say the most notable thing is the recognition we got as Uber partners in a short period of time. How people were able to trust, Nigerians don't trust anybody. How people were able to trust us to say, you know what, I have 5 vehicles, take. We'll do a report. I didn't have one issue with somebody saying, oh, we feel that you paid us less, or you breached our agreement, or it was pretty much cut and dry, clear case of, efficiency. And people will trust you enough to say, oh, this is my property, take it, care, and we trust you. I would say that would be one of my standout moments. I saw an interview with Cosmas Maduka, chairman of Coscharis. He said, capital is a resource. You have to guard it jealously. You have to watch it with an eagle eye. And I took that to heart. Opportunities will rise. If you don't have capital, you can't do anything about it. So when you are making X amount of money, you have to save it in one place as capital for the future, where if an opportunity rises, you need to go borrowing, carrying proposal from door to door. You're able to do it yourself. You're able to start. When you start something, it's easy to sell the idea because you have done it. I've gone into this. I've done it. This is my result. So it's easy for me to tell you if I want to expand and I can't afford to expand on my own. It's easy for me to go and meet an investor and say, okay, this is what I've done so far. It's not like I'm carrying a green proposal to you and say, oh, this is the idea I have, or this is how I want to start. No. So I would say that's one of the quotes I've taken to heart.